All right, we're going to go on to another controversial figure here, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and Eminem. We're going to change gears here a little bit. So Eminem, you may have known, he released a 4.5-minute freestyle rap here, slamming the president with a lot of profanity. So there's a lot of beeps if we were going to play this here. And it got a lot of controversy, and President Trump was not very happy about it. And you guys heard, I'm sure it was released during the BET Hip Hop Awards. Didn't you guys see it? Are we going to play a clip of it a little bit, I believe? Not yet. We're going to play that in a little bit. But what did you guys think of it?
A lot of nervous senses.
Yeah, I know, right? Because he like beep, beep, beep. No. So, what did you guys think of it?
I mean, it was an interesting moment for the BET, the Black Entertainment Network, to show Eminem, this person from the hip-hop scene, but a white man, taking on President Trump in this visceral way. It was, whether it was fully freestyled or whether it was something that was slightly scripted, he went after him on everything from Colin Kaepernick and the Black Lives Matter movement to even taxes that he said fly Donald Trump around in his personal jet. Talked about the wall at one point, used this sort of southern accent to imitate some of Donald Trump's supporters, and at the end drew what he called a line in the sand, saying, you're either with me or you're with President Trump. You're not allowed to be my fan and to like that man. It's just pretty intense.
But do you think in this era of Trump,
I'm for it.
do you think in this era of Trump music, I mean, it's always been music has always obviously been very socially aware. I mean, we know that. But do you think in this era of Trump, it's just taken it to this like completely new height, that it's just, and artists perhaps who weren't, I mean, I think Eminem has always sort of been there. But in this era of Trump, it's just, no holds barred. Everything is fair game, and it's really gone to a whole new level.
I mean, yes, but also we're talking about bloodshed, we're talking about people's lives, we're talking about human rights, we're talking about human equality. And I think that has all come under threat under his...
And we're seeing a little clip of it now, yeah.
Under his legislation. So I think people are more, yes, they are kind of condemning his alleged or what seems to be his complacency in the matter, and how he enables some of these things, but also they're really mostly focused on the fact that human equality, human rights is actually under threat. That's really the problem. And then, obviously the economy and all this other stuff that he brought up in his freestyle. And
Mike, let me ask you, do you think artists like this in any way, shape, or form risk, alienating any of their fans, or that their fans, they're obviously very loyal to their, to the musicians they like? Do you think that's at all an issue?
No, I think that what we're seeing is celebrities and actors, entertainers actually being celebrated and being rewarded for taking a stance. I think that fans and consumers really want to know more about the artist. They want to know about the company they're purchasing consumer good from now. We are more curious about what is your mission statement. We're more curious about what is your constitution. I think it's more so about the artists who aren't saying anything that we're more curious about. Like, well, why aren't you saying anything? Your silence is actually speaking volumes to me by you not saying anything. We've seen it happen with Solange in particular. Like, Solange was really, I think she's a perfect case study for this. Solange was really trying to figure out who she was in the light of her sister Beyonce. But there was a moment when she got on Twitter and she became unfiltered and she let her voice just go, and she became her authentic self, not afraid to speak her truth, and then see the success of it. She has one of the most amazing albums, within the R&B pop charts out right now, and it's all about being her authentic self. Same thing within football. Colin Kaepernick, he has the #1 selling football jersey. He's not even playing anymore. But just on the flip side, Villanova, the soldier on the Pittsburgh Steelers, his jersey is now also one of the top selling jerseys when he went against his team to stand out to salute the flag for the national anthem. So I think that you will actually be rewarded and you will find support for speaking your truth.
I think it's interesting you're saying that people now, they really do want to know who their artist, what side they're on. Because I think in these times with Donald Trump, it is more polarizing than now, even than before with Barack Obama. I mean, people really want to know, are you pro-Trump? Are you anti-Trump? I mean, I think that's the reality in which we are now. That's just the bottom line. So I think before people, they weren't as, we just weren't like that before. We just weren't as divided. So I think it's true. I mean, I think people, they almost do want to scroll sometime an artist's Twitter feed and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? They're curious, like, well, what's their take on, Trump's take in Puerto Rico? What's their take on hurricane relief? Go on, Brad.
Well, I will say that at the end of President Obama's term, if you looked at polls, a lot of Americans said that the country was more divided at the end of President Obama's presidency than before. But President Obama clearly was, he was on record as saying that he wanted to tone down those differences. President Trump has always been someone who's looked to highlight differences between himself and his detractors. And he's someone who has gone to great lengths to do it, whether it be swearing, whether it be personal insults, whether it be Twitter bombs, really uncensoring himself. And when you think about people that are uncensored, Eminem is a perfect example of that. So I think it was this cathartic experience for a lot of Eminem fans and hip hop fans to see someone go with that visceral of a freestyle, regardless of Eminem's own past history and what you think about him and his controversies. I think it was cathartic for a lot of fans to see, if you want to call it fire with fire, that's fine. The question is whether you see the country getting even more divided as that becomes the comfortable place to be.
But the polarization that happened with President Obama when that poll you're suggesting when he came out, it had more so about partisanship, right? Like race was possibly an undertone within that, but it was definitely Republican versus Democrat. Now we're going to cultural wars, right? Now this is about identity politics, right? And so when you get to cultural wars and you get to identity politics, the polarization takes on a whole new meaning, right? In terms of what's happening. The reason why I would like for people to stop using that argument of, I just want to watch football to watch football.
Yeah.
I just want to watch a movie to watch a movie. I just want to play a song to play a song. That has got to stop. Because the reason why, Kaplan, is because President Trump has now inserted himself. President Trump tweets about the Oscars. President Trump tweets about the Golden Globes. He tweets about the Emmys. He tweets about actors. He tweets about music. He tweets about ratings. He himself has inserted himself into pop culture. So because he's inserted himself into pop culture, he now has the office of the presidency. So politics has been inserted. So we can no longer use that argument, I just want to be entertained. No, this is unfortunately, politics has now been inserted.
All right, well, fair point.